Frankenstein, Agent of S.H.A.D.E. number 13. This is written by Matt Kint, art by Alberto Ponticelli, and this is a tie-in to the RotWorld arc going on in Animal Man and Swamp Thing, where Frankenstein's just kind of doing his own thing on the side. So, last issue we had Frankenstein leading an army of ex-S.H.A.D.E. agents out of the Leviathan graveyard, which in itself was confusing, but hey, we got there, and he no longer trusts S.H.A.D.E. like at all. This issue picks up with Father Time and the other scientist dude basically being like, hey, Frankenstein, we know you're not really talking to us right now, but some really bad stuff is happening and we really need your... And then the feed goes dead and immediately Nina is there like, I've never heard Father Time really plead for help on anything. And also, I've never had the line go dead before. That's weird. And then all of a sudden, all of the ex-S.H.A.D.E. agents start turning into these horrific, like, beast-looking things. And Frankenstein pulls out his sword. He's like, all right, Nina, everyone, just get out of here. Just bail. And we see that the thing turning all the monsters is Victor Frankenstein, the guy who turned Frankenstein himself. And he thought he was dead, a la the Zero issue, but it turns out that Victor did die 100%, and he washed up on the shores of the Amazon forest, and as he died, he was absorbed by like the grass and the ground and all that, and he realized that there was the green and the red, and they were both fighting over his soul, and he looked at them and he was like, both of you are too weak. I have no interest in being part of either of you. And he managed to leave. But then he came across Anton Arcane, who told him about the rot. And the rot sounded right up his alley in terms of working with dead things. So he decided to join that. And he'd said that he destroyed all of his technology, all of his stuff, except for the Soul Grinder, which he very purposefully disassembled and left in multiple different locations. But either way, now he's part of the rot, and he's here to take out Frankenstein because he realizes, hey, I know I can't kill you, but I can kill literally everything around you. And he starts like rotting away the inside of the Leviathan they were riding in. So at that point, the Leviathan breaches above the water. Frankenstein guides it up to a shore, and they start making their way out along with all the people who didn't transform, I guess, but I didn't see any of them before, so I don't know what's going on there. So Father Time clicks in for a second, just trying to get some more info across. Doesn't really come through. And then some condors start circling around. And he's like, that's weird. They don't travel as a pack. And then the condors come down and literally grab Frankenstein and pick him up and carry him away. Frankenstein starts slashing at them. And he's like, hey, chill. We are part of the Red. We are part of the welcoming party. We need you to help us out. And he's like, well, you left my friends alone. And they're like, we don't care. We really need you right now, okay? Let's go. So, drops him down in Metropolis, and it turns out Metropolis has already been completely zombified. Like, everyone there is just rot. And so he starts slashing his way through, going through, and they keep on trying to turn him, and he's like, don't you understand? I do not rot. I do not decay. I am Frankenstein, rah. And as he makes his way through the city, he comes across a horse, and the horse is like, hey, I'm another member of the Red. I'm here to guide you on to the next part of your journey. And it's like, okay, yeah, sure, whatever. So, making his way on horseback through another horde of the Red, or of the Rot, and he comes across Velcoro, the vampire one. He comes across him, and his wings are like completely torn to shreds, and he's barely holding his own against the Rot. And so he saves Velcoro, puts him on horseback, and basically they're just like, all right, here's the deal. The only way we can beat him is apparently if we reassemble that Soul Grinder thing. But apparently when he disassembled it and put it into multiple different places, he covered them and like protected them with things called colossi. So that's an issue. So we're going to have to get through the colossi. But another issue is that the ant farm, aka where S.H.A.D.E. is kept, which is a tiny little ball that just floats around the world, immediately after Victor was done with Frankenstein, he just kind of like booped his way over there and killed everyone in S.H.A.D.E. So all of S.H.A.D.E. is dead and destroyed. And the only ones left now are seemingly Frankenstein and Velcoro. So Yeah, no, it's a big start to the whole RotWorld thing. I do think this benefits the RotWorld arc, whereas those two start in the future where they already have lost. This tie-in is showing the like, okay, here's how the fight happens. And I'd be curious to see if by the end of this whether they do a thing where Frankenstein does technically win or whether it leads into that future of them being dead, you know? It's either either, and I'm curious to see which one we go for. So overall, though, this issue kind of comes out of nowhere, but it's not in a bad way. I mean, this whole series has just been a thing of like, and then there's this crazy thing over here. Can we go deal with that? So it doesn't feel unearned. It just feels like, and then the rot thing happened, where it's like, yeah, no, that would be a thing that just happened randomly one day to these guys. So I give this one a 7.5. I think it does a good job of keeping up the previous pace of the Frankenstein series while also coming to this big event that it can tie into. And it has a story to tell on its own as a person, as a character who is neither alive nor dead, and how it fits into this circle of life sort of thing. So 7.5, definitely liking it.